Good day, let's take a look together at a group of heat pumps today, which are sold across Europe under several trade names but originate only from a single Czech manufacturer Ekond. What connects all these pumps are the applications for remote controlling the heat pump. Originally, the application was Ekondak Basic, which, however, exists only for iOS devices, and has been replaced by the new Heating Up application for Android. However, there is also a third application available on the Google Play Market, which we will look at towards the end of the video. So, let's first look at the basic one, which comes from the manufacturer, named Heating Up, the newest one, and see what this application can do. It's a very simple application designed only for quickly and intuitively controlling and only the basic functions of the pump. You can see that after launching it, we see the home screen, where the room temperature is visible, and we can set this temperature up or down only in ½ degree Celsius increments. We can confirm it, and thus save it. The second option, similar to the first one, is the possibility to control the temperature of the boiler, which means the temperature of the hot water, where we can set the value we want the temperature in the boiler to be heated to. We simply confirm it with a button, and when we look at the settings, we see that we can set whether it's in winter or summer mode. We can control and set whether the pump runs in automatic mode, runs only as a heat pump without using electric bivalence, or whether we will use it only as an electric power bivalent source. We can also use the pump for cooling of house and we can turn on or off it. The last option available is the regulation. There are three types of regulation available, either the classic Ekviderm, as we known from other manufacturers, or standard, where the water temperature at the return is maintained, or an intelligent way of control, previously called Ekontherm, now called SmartTherm, which can control the pump based on some internal logic of evaluating the request for internal temperature, outdoor temperature, and finding a kind of 3-day history of how the pump behaved with various demands for this data. In addition, there's a menu in the application where we can switch between light and dark mode, we can look at the manufacturer's website, we can look at the phone number, the phone support we want to call, and we can also get some further information from the manufacturer about news and updates. So, that's basically the end of the application. As I said, a very simple application only for the basic functions of the pump. Besides Heating Up, we also have another application here, called Ekondak. As I mentioned, it was not created in a Ekond factory, but was created by users for other users. It's not an official product from the manufacturer, but a product that arose from the requirements of other customers, what they would like the application to be capable of. On the basic help site, which we can display, we have information on how to set up the pump, what needs to be done, what the login details are, what to expect, what the individual symbols and icons of the pump can display. Then, in the settings, we need to set up the application so that it connects correctly. This means setting the type of heat pump, setting the language in which we want the application to communicate with us, setting the login details, which we can change, and setting the IP address of the pump with which the application will communicate on local site. Then remote connection is also available because, of course, the application can also connect remotely. Here we fill in the same login details that we also fill in the Heating Up application. This means the same MAC address, the same login name, and the same password, too. So, let's go back to the application, how it looks. When we display the basic page of the application, we see that we have information that the pump is not heating at the moment, So let's heat up the hot water for a moment, so we can see how these icons change. We see the output temperature on the water heater. We see what the demand, or rather what the value of the boiler temperature is. We see the indoor and outdoor temperatures. We also have the option of control. When we switch to control, we first load the set parameters as they are. We see that the temperature is distinguished between economical and comfort. The economical temperature is set lower for night heating or for a mode when we are at work and so on. The comfort temperature, according to the schedule, is marked as the higher one. At the moment, if we want to change any parameter, we can change it here. You can see that the change is not made in half-degree increments but in tenths of a degree. And the next value is the value of heating the hot utility water. As I said, I turn on the pump, meaning I set the temperature here so that the pump starts heating the hot utility water, and I confirm the values I set here. When I receive a message that everything is set correctly, we can see that the pump actually starts performing some activity. And in that overview, we see that the primary circuit pump has already started for us, which starts circulating. In a moment, the fan turns on, and then after a while, the compressor turns on. When the temperature of the water output from the compressor of the pump is higher than the temperature of the water in the boiler, the mixing valve also turns on, so that the hot utility water really starts heating up. We'll check in a moment if everything is going as I said, and let's take a look back at what else this application can do. One of the things available here is statistics. For the statistics to be valid, to see what we want to see, we need to first download the data. We give the command to download the data and we get information that the data is being fetched. You can see that they were downloaded via a local network because the connection through a CONTHEM is not active at the moment. And we can now look at the downloaded data and see what the statistics will look like. This means we see that as for today, up to 13 hours and 15 minutes, the pump has produced approximately 30 kilowatt-hours of thermal energy, consumed 18, had some heating factor, worked for some time in terms of the compressor, some time heating hot utility water. We see that today the compressor turned on for us 4 times and we also have some defrosting here because the outdoor temperature at the time of shooting this video was only around 4 degrees Celsius on average, meaning the pump was also defrosting. We could see similar statistics for yesterday. Similar additional statistics are available for 7 days ago. So, these are the things you can see in the statistics, and we can also visualize these things in graphs. We'll take a look at the graphs in a moment. We'll also take a look at the basic dashboard. You can already see that the fan has turned on for us and the pump has started a process. And now the compressor has also turned on. This means that at the moment, the compressor is on, the fan is on, the primary circuit pump is on, and in a moment, the 3-way valve will also switch for us, but it will take a moment. It will be roughly when the temperature at the outlet from the fan is higher than the temperature in the boiler so that we do not cool the boiler from the beginning but start heating it immediately. Let's take a look back at what I promised, what the graphs can do. We can display all of this within graphs as well. Here we have graphs for the last 8 days, where we see both the produced energy in kilowatt-hour, which fluctuated between 45 and 55 kilowatt-hour. We also see the consumed energy, which ranges from 10 to 18 kilowatt-hour. Additionally, we observe the relationship between outdoor temperature and coefficient of performance. If the outdoor temperature is sufficiently high, we see that the coefficient of performance is naturally higher, and conversely, if the outdoor temperature is lower. When we click on the data, we see the outdoor temperature at 2.57 and a coefficient of performance at 3.32. When we click on this value here, we see that the outdoor temperature is 9.04 and the coefficient of performance is now a nice 4.53. So, we have a complete overview of the past week regarding how the pump behaved in terms of energy. Additionally, we can display various graphs. At this moment, for example, we have a graph of input and output power, which you can see over the last 4 hours. I turned on the pump a while ago so we could see these symbols, meaning it hasn't been heating since 1930. I've restarted the pump for the filming of this video, so it's been running for about 20 minutes now. We can look at the daily characteristic, how the temperature progressed, or even for 7 days, but that graph is confusing, as there is a lot of data. However, the important thing is that the graph has a zoom function, which unfortunately doesn't work on the emulator we're looking at, but you can click on the graph at any time, and it will display the specific parameters at that time if you're interested in something at a specific time. Within these graphs, you can also toggle what you want to see. For example, at this moment, we only have the heating of hot utility water. Those are the moments when the hot utility water was being heated, so this part is missing from the graph at the moment, but I can add it like this. That was one of the graphs called input and output power. Another one is, for example, the temperature progression, which we see here, meaning outdoor temperature, outdoor temperature, and return water temperature. You can see that this graph is truly interactive. We can toggle on and off, we can have a time perspective, so these graphs are truly interactive. Everyone can look at what interests them here. Here, for example, is the progression of the heating factor, so you can see how I've been moving around for the last 4 hours. It was somewhere around 5.5, let's say. Over the last 24 hours, there will be similar values, even reaching around 5 at some point. The standard value is just over 4, which corresponds to the outdoor temperature, around 10 degrees. So, those are the basic functions in the graphs, and let's continue. Another interesting and new feature available is data export. This allows you to select the period you want. For example, let's decide to export data for the entire February. So, here I select that I want from the 1st of February 2024 to the last day of February, that is, until the 29th of February 2024. I'll prepare the data for export, which will take a moment. Here we often receive questions about how the time interval specified for a given period, i.e., its range, can be large. It can indeed be up to a year ago, but we recommend dividing that period into several intervals, most commonly by quarters, so that there isn't too much data for the application to process. Because first, the data needs to be read from the pump's SD card, then it needs to be processed, and finally, the application needs to make calculations, sort them into a CSV file, and prepare the data for sending. So, you see that at the moment, I'm only preparing data for 1 month. The computer in the phone, which is doing this, is quite powerful, and yet it still takes quite a long time. So, if you were to choose a year or even a longer period of time, it might take you, for example, 20 minutes, and you'd unnecessarily burden the phone. So, at this moment, we finally have the data prepared, and we can send it. This means that if you have a mail client on your phone, we can select the recipient where we'll send the data. You can even send it to a nearby device via Bluetooth or WhatsApp. So, I'll choose my email, for example. I see that the attachment in the CSV file is only 3 kilobytes, even though there are 19 data points for each day, and I'll send the file. The email is being sent through the mail client, and it will indeed be sent to the selected email address. What to say in conclusion? Apart from the data export options we saw in the previous chapter, there's also the possibility to ask for developer assistance. This means sending them an email with some raw data, from which the developer can help us determine where the problem lies in the application settings or connection to their pump. We can also attempt to seek advice on the issue with the heat pump itself. The last thing I'd like to draw attention to here is that there's currently a Facebook page called Heating Up Users Europe Acondac Alliance, and there's also a website for the application where you can find all the details about Acondac. Of course, you can also switch to the language of your interest, with languages available where these pumps are usually sold by this manufacturer. You'll find links under this video on YouTube as well. You can contact us via email at info@acondac.eu, which you'll find listed on our website. You can also, of course, leave your comments under this video or join us on the Facebook group. We look forward to your participation and to connecting with you in future videos. Goodbye.